What is good? I hope everybody is doing well. Thank you for joining Stuck in the Middle every day, 9 a.m. I'm going to go back to this woke army ad versus the Russian video, but stay in there with me. I'm not going to really talk about the woke part or the army. I'm taking this into a different direction. The comments that I've got on these videos, I'm telling you, that is what's pumped me up more than anything. Thank you to everyone. There was a comment I got on that video. That video got ratioed, by the way. And I think that one got ratioed in a way that described how controversial or divisive or it was a tough topic for me. But the comment I saw was so respectful. It made me think not about this culture war that we're in, but how are we looked upon by the rest of the world while we're having this culture war? I quote from the username PM, "I don't know how you Americans are still keeping it together. As someone living in Poland, we looked to the USA as a strong defender and a culture we wanted to have. Nowadays, my kids look to Russian influence rather than American. It used to be the opposite here. I grew up under communism from Soviet Union. Never would I think my children and their peers prefer a world led by Russia and China over the United States of America. But I see the craziness going on in the USA. The wokeness, the trans stuff, the multi-gender stuff, cancer culture, microaggressions, and college campuses. I had no idea. I'm an old man. My kids say Americans are soft, and I see their point. They say, especially for white men in America, are neutered because if they get canceled, because they get canceled if they speak on any issue. USA has destroyed themselves from within. This is so sad." Un- Unbelievable quote right there. Unbelievable stuff in a good way. So I don't agree with everything in it. I do not think he quotes this trans stuff. There's nothing wrong with the trans stuff. That's not the problem. I would hope in Poland, I don't know these other countries very well. I would hope that we are all accepting of people who are of different backgrounds, different types. Doesn't matter what their identity is. So all that stuff that he is perceiving as weakness, that's not the true weakness. That's what got me pumped here. This isn't about the wokeness. That's not the weakness that we have been. That's not why we've been falling apart as a country. That is not the weakness. I know you can look at it like that. Ted Cruz was saying that he wasn't intimating, and he flat out said it, that we had a emasculated army, I think was the quote. That's not what's emasculating us, if you want to use that term. My dad always taught us growing up, you're going to have fights within the family. You can't live with anybody and not have squabbles, beef, disagreements, fights. But when we go out in public, that's your brother. There's no question about that. Otherwise, you're not ready to go out in public together. You've got to have his back. You've got to have a unified approach, part of the bro code. If you go out to the club and you're with, three people, three guys going out to the club, or I would say women should be the same way. You're going out to the club, or anybody, it doesn't matter if it's co-ed group, and two people get into the club, and then the other person is wearing sneakers, and they're like, "No, we don't allow sneakers in this club. You can't come in." We all go in or we don't. Now, maybe you would have had beef because you might have told your partner, "Bro, you can't wear those sneakers." And they said, "Yeah, you can. I've been there before with the sneakers." "Bro, I saw the sign. They said no sneakers." And then you roll up, and then you were right. They're not letting you in with sneakers. But if you're rolling with that crew, we're gonna have beef when we get in the car. But if my bro not coming in, we all not going in. That's the mentality. I'm gonna step away from the mic. I don't want to be too loud. That is where our weakness is coming from, because we don't have that unified approach. What's happening now is not only is your partner not getting in the club, y'all are turning around laughing at them saying, "I told you so." At some point, we got to put that aside and be like, either I'm rolling with you or I'm not. And that's where our weakness is coming from. And he's in Poland. PM, I think it's a him, I don't even know the gender, it doesn't matter, is in Poland and seeing, oh, your partner didn't get in the club, and you're laughing at him, and it's like, oh gosh, you guys are weak. And he's mistaking the wokeness and the quote trans stuff. There's nothing wrong with trans stuff. That's not the weakness. Being diverse and diversified actually is a strength. The weakness is we're not rolling together. So our squabbles are out in the open without having each other's back and communicating stance. Either we all get in or no one gets in. The part that used to trip me out, and I had to learn this, if one of your partners gets into a fight, y'all are in the fight. That's why I didn't roll with people who wanted to get into fights quickly. I'm down. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm gonna make that clear. But if I'm rolling with you to the club or to the game, to the baseball game, whatever the case may be, I'm expecting that we're not getting into a fight. But in that rare case, that 1 in a million chance that something goes down, we're all in it. Even though I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover, not a fighter. At that moment, we all gonna have to be in it. And that's the approach that we don't have as our country. And I'm going to talk about our leadership in DC. It's failing us. Everyone, all of them. And it goes down to mayor, to governor, but I want to focus on the federal level. But I am going to highlight the executive branch. The president of the United States is in a different branch of government. They are not legislators for a reason. And we've allowed this political party. So our president might be a Democrat and they roll with the Democrats. That's not what a president really should be doing. And we've turned this into a divisive, partisan leadership position. And that position can't be that. The responsibility for most of this lies on the executive branch. They are the foreign dignitary. They are the leader of the free world. They represent all of us. They are the commander in chief. If you're going to have one constant statement, it's got to be from them. This failure from the executive branch, this is not an indictment on our current president. This has been a problem for decades. The first president I remember growing up was Reagan. Things were better with Reagan as far as that single voice approach. And then it just kept getting worse and worse. And when Obama came, and I'm not blaming Obama for this, it's the executive branch, but that's when the divisiveness came to a point where it's like, even when Obama went overseas, people were here in the States kind of taking pot shots. And I was like, that's not how I grew up. Even if we didn't agree with Ronald Reagan, people weren't taking pot shots at Ronald Reagan while he was visiting Germany. Like, what's happening? That's when, and then it started unraveling. That's the weakness that you're seeing, PM. That user PM, that's the weakness you're seeing. So I'm going to use an example and end it on this. So Ted Cruz rose up and said, I've got concerns based on this ad, and I look at the Russian ad, and I see that their ad looks more hardcore than the Disney cartoon ad, plus the wokeness within it and all that. That is a fair concern. Like, we shouldn't be just attacking Ted Cruz as if there's nothing to be concerned about there. If the only types of ads that we were using to recruit people into our army were those types of ads, that's not suitable. I don't think I did a good enough job explaining that in my other video. So if we do 10 ads for the army and one of them is like that, I'm good. But if we do 10 ads for the army and all 10 of them are like that Disney ad with the wokeism, that's nonsense. We need that's not diversity, obviously, if you do the same of any ad. So the commander in chief has to come out. You've got a sitting senator talking about and questioning your army openly. And then people bickering in the Senate and in the legislative branch about it. You need to be the president. You need to come up. You need to step up and say, and make a statement. It needs to be apolitical, non-divisive, and unifying. They're turning the job of communicating as president into a joke. And again, this is not just Biden. This is Trump and Obama and Clinton. And it's gone all the way down to Bush and Reagan. The job's easier as a communicator for president if all you're going to do is spit the talking points of the Democrats. So Joe Biden came into office and talked about unity, and he hasn't done a damn thing for unity. Don't say that if you don't mean it. No president, we're heading in a bad direction with that. So what would that sound like? It would probably sound like the president saying, I don't know how you make the statement or where it is, but you can say, Senator Cruz, a respected member of Congress. Yes, a Democrat president, or if it's a Republican president and it's a Democrat criticizing. Respected member of Congress, Democrat senator. Yes, that should come from a Republican president. The parties shouldn't have to match. The president should say from a respected member of Congress, Senator Ted Cruz recently brought up concerns about our army, even using the term, I quote, emasculated. I am here today to tell you, first and foremost, no one should be concerned about the strength of our army. The United States Army has always been, and always will be one of the strongest forces in the world. There are no weaknesses in our army. I can assure you of that. We've got the best, the brightest, the smartest, the most badass force of hardworking individuals sacrificing for you to enjoy the convenience and pleasures at home. A part of that army is evolving to include diversity, which only makes it stronger. So we have no problem with the Russian video. We've got our own videos showing young men who are strong, bright, smart, chiseled, that can do the same thing. But those aren't the only people that can help protect our country. So if we do 10 ads, and one of them is to let everyone know we are a diverse force, then I stand by that. I understand Senator Cruz's concerns are legitimate, but I'm here to let him know, don't have those concerns. We are the best out there. Some type of statement like that. I'm not the one to do it. I'm just trying to give an example of what I mean. That's what we're missing. And they're not going to do that unless we demand them to. Take care.
Do not compare me to none of these people that will tone down their message for money, please. Most of them go bow down to the mob to some degree. Yeah, being the villain is fun to me, and y'all know exactly what it is when it come to me. I don't water myself down cause I'm sucker free. Battle with my old thoughts keeping me company. People in my business like they part of my company. I know why they mad cause I'm black, wearing MAGA, plus I rap better and I'm smarter, yeah I'm that clever. Y'all use max effort just to be outdone by the bucket hat wearer, and I trap never, but I'm dope like the crackhead. Want me to fall off, but we still ain't there. Me against the world, but for them it still ain't fair. They see my bank account say Bryson, why I'm ain't there, but I'm looking for their soul and it still ain't there. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like it's just me against the world. Me against the world. Like it's me against the world. Sometimes I think that it's just me against the world. Me against the world. Like it's just me against the world. An enemy, someone trying to take our guns and our liberty. And I know being free is what we pretend to be, but these masks is giving me different energy. What do you do when they forget the Constitution? When they take away your speech, how can we think of a solution? And they telling us that it's China we should fear, but it's our own leaders taking all our freedoms here. And yeah, I know that was inspired by Pop, but when I see things happening, I can't just stand by and watch. I gotta speak up and say something, don't know how long we got, cause we turning away from God, don't you know hell is hot? And yes, it's a Christian nation if you like it or not. I know what you thinking, here Bryson go stirring the pot. When everybody else get cold feet, I'm keeping it hot. And if you working for Satan, then know you one of my ops, yeah. That's why I feel like it's just me against the world. Me against the world. Sometimes I feel like it's just me against the world. Don't it feel like that it's you against the world?